cannot see. Spirit is leading me, and I know I've got the victory. Hey, got it. I got the victory. Ooh, I got it. Yeah, victory. I got the victory. Now you know sometimes we think that we know it all, but God has got a plan. So even in your darkest night, hold on to the light, and please know, you got the victory. Hey. In my heart, I got the victory. On my job, I got it. In my family, I got the victory. In my relationship, I got it. I got the victory. When I pray every day, I got the victory. When I walk, what I talk, when I practice, what I preach, when I trust in God, I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it,
Good morning, heart and soul. And good morning, those of you who are joining us from home or other places. We appreciate you tuning in. I want to just set the stage. Sometimes I call it stringing pearls, because I take seriously the work that we do here. Our intention on Sunday is to offer something that can make a difference. There are a lot of folks, some of whom are in this room right now, who are in a place of, dare I say, experiencing some confusion, some doubt, some fear. And our intention is to support you in setting all of that straight, so that not just at the end of this talk, because I don't know it may take a while for all that to settle in. But you see, even our Women's Day slideshow, even that is intended to touch your heart in a way that, if nothing else, it might inspire you to look more closely at some of those individuals, and to be inspired to know that there's a way for you, a way out of no way. Somebody said yes, that there is a way, and that folks have worked the way. This isn't the first time we've been in difficult circumstances, yes? Okay, these people over here get it. I'm gonna have to work a little more closely with y'all. Yes, yes. Okay, these people get it. Y'all are really bringing up the rear right here. Because our intention is to offer something that once you embrace it, once you begin engaging it, it can make a difference. It can support you. Here's my sense, that there's not a one of us who's not going to have a difficult moment, a difficult day, a difficult week. You know, sometimes we stretch it out. I'm not going to name it, but sometimes we stretch it out. So what we know is that none of us has been inoculated to avoid challenge. The question is, and the opportunity for all of us is, what will we do under the circumstances? Yes? And sometimes we are knocked so hard that we forget. The way I say it is like, Lord, I could forget my name with that whap. So the idea is, what will we use to do what I call come to myself? You know, like the prodigal son, the prodigal daughter, there's that moment where we come to ourselves and we realize that how we've been behaving and what we're going through is not the truth of our being. And so there's some things that we offer to support you in that. I love that you're in this service. I love that you're tuning in. I love that you might already have our Wednesday night Imagining Justice on your calendar. But just in case, I want to just remind you of the way that I am stringing these pearls, if you will. I'm going to start by suggesting that, you know, when last Sunday we sprang forward. I'm going to suggest we not let go of that. I'm going to suggest that when your eyes open every morning, that you declare to yourself and set an intention to continue to spring forward every morning in joy and expectancy. Might that be a beneficial start? To start the morning, eyes open, and you tune into an expectancy or an intention rather, of joy and expectancy. And then you can do your morning prayer, your morning meditation, but you've set a foundation. Does that make sense? Okay. So what we're offering with respect to our Wednesday night program, Imagining Justice, is this Wednesday, there is a session on somatics. Yes? Okay. And then I want to tune you in because on the first Wednesday of every month, they are in discussion about Reverend Dr. David Alexander's book, Freedom from Discord, and he'll be joining them. So he'll be in for that dialogue. Even if you haven't tuned in before, tune in so that you can get locked into this idea. Yes, whether you have the book or not, it's a good book. Get it if you can, but even if you don't have it, still tune in, yes? There is, Reverend David Alexander began this program. It's 10 days of celebrating power, wisdom, and resilience of the divine feminine in times like these. Sometimes we just need a little affirmation, a little reminder. So if you've tuned into this, my voice is the one this morning. Some of y'all are already, I see you seeing me. Yes, thank you for that. Absolutely. And we do it so that it can make a difference. You'd be surprised how a little boost, adding something to the mix changes it, always. So if you intentionally add something positive, the outcome is sure to have more positivity in it, being more like the outcome that you intended, yes? Okay, so now look, there's also those things. Part of this life is to have some fun. So we know these are serious times, and some of us are just thinking, how can you party well, you need to. You need to do both. You're going to work hard, and you're going to play hard. And so this Friday night, is the family game night. Yes? And then on the day after that, on Saturday, you know, I am in this technology thing. Microsoft and I had a moment this moment, and it looks like they won. So I'm just going to know something. We would just old school it. So on that next day, so Friday night, we'll be having fun with game night here. And I understand it's a hoot. Yes, absolutely, yes. A little testimonial. Okay. And then the next day, we have our path to membership. And I share that with you because all of this is me stringing pearls. What I'm trying to say is that everything I'm mentioning, that if you participate in this in any way, shape, or form, if you are truly engaged in it, your life will shift. The purpose of the path to membership is because community matters. It really does matter. Psalm 1 will straighten all that out about who you hang out with. It makes a difference. So if you're in a community, make sure it's a community that is uplifting you. Make certain that it's a community that's including you and all of your friends and family in that way. You understand what I'm saying? That it's an inclusive community, yes? Yes, so that's an opportunity. There's also Principles for Successful Living, and that's a class that will also boost your intention and your clarity about who you are and whose you are and what time it is on your personal planet and some of the choices and skills and resources that you can engage for the highest possible outcome. And as if that's not enough, we have a comedy training and improv training. Misha, are you in the room? So we got stuff going, and now I can just about get out of your way before Vocal Rush comes. And can I just tell y'all that Vocal Rush has such a special place in the heart of Heart and Soul, but in my personal heart, because as y'all know, my nephew William Southall was graduated from Oakland School of the Arts in 2016. And I believe it was 2016 that he graduated. It was a while ago. And he was a part of Vocal Rush for 3 years in high school. So it's very, very special to us. But what I want you to know is that as we continue our women's history, what we're focusing on today, what I'm focusing on today, is Pauli Murray. And her legacy, her life and her legacy. She was a fearless advocate for justice, whose vision of equality transcended race, gender, and sexuality, long before the world had language for the battles she fought. Murray stood for divine justice that knows no limit. So our Heart and Soul community is committed to evolving and elevating. And so I leave you now with the amazing Vocal Rush.
Do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Dum 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 dum.
It's easy to feel lost, lost, lost. Oh, when you open your eyes in the morning, let yourself know you're okay. You're doing great as long as you're breathing. Just keep on believing, yeah. Know that you're loved, and it comes from somewhere way far above. Oh, oh. And when you're feeling stressed, just remember to keep doing your best. Your best. Don't get lost. Don't get lost. Don't you get lost. It's easy to feel lost. It's so easy. Oh, don't you get lost. Don't get lost. Don't get lost. Don't get lost. You've got to know that you're worth so much more. And God has so much more in store. When your life feels like it's hit the floor, gotta get back up. Hey, get back up. Hey, don't you know you're worth so much more? Pick yourself up, you've gotta get up. Oh, I said you better. Trust your stories, you'll find a way. Oh, don't get lost. You can get back up again. Oh, I'm sure you'll find. Don't get lost.
Rush. Sarah, we are so proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Because some of us remember when. When you were literally a part of Vocal Rush. And so we're just so proud of you and your evolution and growth to this point. Congratulations. Well done. Well done. Yes. So y'all heard the sermon. Don't get lost. And if you do, you'll find your way. Yes? Okay, we're just going to take up collection now. But it turns out that even though my little stuff right here is not fully cooperating, or dare I say at all, oh, wait, it's looking like it's trying to do a little something. But look, so what I want to, we honor, we kind of almost stop all the action for Black history and women's history, and it's because the world doesn't appreciate it in the way that we do. The world doesn't offer the kind of sharing and opportunities for us to acknowledge and honor Black folks in life, let alone in Black history, and women, often in life, let alone during women's history. Yes? Yes. So, we do it because our community is committed to evolve and elevate and benefit greatly from those who hacked and hewed and cleared the way and paved the way for us, yes? So it's not in any way idol worship or just an opportunity to share someone's biography. My intention is that somewhere in there, you'll see the oneness. You'll see that individual who stood there, who did that, who fell and got up, that person is very much like me. And sometimes you may have to make it up. Don't get stuck on the facts. Just see yourself in this sense of oneness and know that if they did it, however they did it, that there's something in you that can also do it. Does that make sense? I think sometimes when we feel lost, we think we're the only ones who've ever been lost. You know, in that moment, we go so deeply, like, I'm feeling lost, and then we just go deeper and deeper into being lost, rather than looking around saying, now I saw him being lost, and she wrote about being lost, and this one wrote a song about it, and so I can benefit from that in some way. Just the song that Vocal Rush just sang, that somebody in tuning into that later will find a way out, will sense that within that is a message intended for someone going through something. Yes? So that's what I think I'm doing. That's what I'm endeavoring to do during Women's History. So we began on the first Sunday with Jane Fonda, and we were excerpting from her speech at the SAG Awards. Because what I found, it was all juicy good, but the portion where she spoke about we are in a documentary, and there's not a one of us who doesn't know what that means. That's where you simply record either what happened or folks' impression of what happened and how it impacted them. We are in a documentary moment. I agree with her. And she asked, and I was shocked when I watched this unfold, when she said, would you have been brave enough to walk the bridge? The Edward Pettus Bridge. Would you have been brave enough to even be on the bridge, let alone have a John Lewis moment? Yes? She said, would you have been able to take the hoses and the batons and the dogs? Would we have been able to do it? Some of us don't know because we haven't challenged ourselves enough to ever be on the front line of anything, where we really say, this is so important. I don't know what's going to happen to me. I don't know how this is going to unfold, but there's no way that I'm going to allow this to happen in the way that it's unfolding. It's a call to action. It's a call to spiritual activism, to know something more. She says, do not isolate. Whatever you do, don't separate. Stay in community. And in community, know that it's important for us to help the vulnerable. The community is not a social club. It's a way to come together to make a difference. Yes? And then we spent some time with Ella Baker, who said the major job is to, in her sense, the major job is getting people to understand that they have something within their power that they could use. And that it could only be used if they understood what was happening and how group action could counter violence. But you could put anything at the end of that sentence, because if you come together in the right way with the right intention and willing to go the full distance, whatever you take on, you'll make a difference in. You'll make a positive difference in. Yes? And I resonated so with that quote because Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of religious science and those powerful principles, said that there is a power for good in the universe. Let me just say to you that when I heard these words, it was a time in my life when I refer to it as the time that I lived under the bed. And it's because I was in such a deep depression that I was isolating myself, and I was really just, tucked into what all that was wrong and how it would never be right. In that place, I certainly didn't see today. I didn't see that any of this was possible. I saw this had to have been in the early 80s, probably 1982 or 3. And when I heard that there's a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. It was almost kind of like a Willis moment. What you talking about? Because I was in such a dark place that I was really questioning. You mean there's a power for good in the universe? That I knew there was a power for good in the universe. I just didn't know I could access it. I didn't know that I could live my life from that. I didn't know that it was for me. I saw other people rocking it, but I really didn't know The truth is, I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel worthy that I could have access to that kind of power, that I could be trusted with it maybe. I don't know the details of it. I just know that I was in a very dark place. And that was a light for me. That was a light showing me that something more was possible for me. And I leaned into it. This is why I took the time this morning to kind of string those pearls, because there might be a place where you say, I think I can lean into that. I can lean into this idea of community and being a part. Because what happens in community is when one is weaker and one is like, I don't know how this works, somebody can grab them and say, well, right now I know. But you remember last month I didn't, and you helped me to know. Because we come in and out of our clarity about truth. Yes, so in community, we support each other in that. And then, of course, last Sunday we had to acknowledge Mother Harriet. It was Harriet Tubman Day the next day. And as a conductor on the Underground Railroad, we know that she was fierce in her awareness of there's a power for good in the universe and that she could use it because there was no other source for knowing, but that inner knowing. Yes? That's why we have what is essentially a life-size portrait of Mother Harriet, because she represents freedom. Uncompromised, no matter what. And I aspire to that level of powerful access to freedom. It's an aspiration for many of us. And we also went to Fannie Lou Hamer. We just didn't have enough time to talk about how what she says is that what I really feel is necessary is that the black people in this country will have to upset the apple cart. They're going to have to get up and come up. She said that we can no longer ignore the fact that America is not the land of the free nor the home of the brave. Now, you know, when you watch how I put a workshop together or a talk or somebody would say as a serial preacher, you know, the various talks together, what Fannie Lou Hamer said reminded me of something that our sister Susan Taylor said when she talked about America the Beautiful. She was saying, let's make it real. Don't just sing it and talk about it. Let's make it real, because it can be, but we have to step up to have it be there. And she tags into Ella Baker in focusing on understanding. She says understanding moves the spirit to wisdom and love. And she ultimately says here, America the Beautiful, it's the example that the rest of the world needs. Dare I say that all of the world needs. That each of us individually needs. See, it's not like just read what is. It's look more deeply into the possibility. What's the capacity? Don't we have the capacity to be America the Beautiful? We have the capacity. What will it take to actually manifest that, to demonstrate that? It's going to require that each of us do something different, be in a different way. Ask me how I know. Y'all scared to ask? I know because we live by right of consciousness. So our lives unfold according to what we believe and the way we have integrated that in our beingness. Does that make sense? So our lives, essentially, the little test, the little pop quiz could be, we know that we are always the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual equivalent to whatever is going on in our lives. So whatever is going on in our lives, whether it's what you're celebrating and it can't get no better than this, or if you are like I was, living under the bed, or anything on the continuum, we know it's by right of consciousness. It's not that whatever I was going through, whatever my circumstances were, it wasn't that others hadn't gone through that. But it had not taken them under the bed. Y'all don't get it. Whatever whatever it is you're going through it your way, based on what you believe, mainly about you, and about the world, about the divine. It's how you order all of that. That's what consciousness is. It's awareness. But the moment someone becomes aware that there is something else, what? There's another way? There's a way out? There's a way in? Is there a one of us who hasn't felt that you were in whatever it was? And then something happened. Someone called, you read something, you heard something, I don't know what it was that was the impetus. And your next thought is, I ain't staying here. Because there's another way. A portal has opened. Something has been revealed. That's awareness. It was already there. You just weren't aware of it. So if we want to shift our awareness and have access to the all good, everywhere, always present, what has to shift? Hint, the all good, everywhere, always present is already doing its thing. So what has to shift is you. At least you're going to have to shift your perception so what you can see it, you can't keep looking at the problem. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from which cometh my help. That means I'm going to shift my vision. I'm going to quit looking at the problem, and I'm going to look up so something else can occur to me. Something else can be envisioned. Something else can come through. I can see another possibility. Is this helping? Yes. All right, because I'm working hard up here. Look, so here's where I wanted to go with this. This sister, y'all just do whatever you want to do with projection, all right? Because I'm just going to share about Pauli Murray, who was born Anna Pauline Murray, known as Pauli Murray for certainly all of her adult life. She was a remarkable American civil rights activist and women's rights activist. She became a lawyer, an Episcopal priest, and author. Let me lay this out for you. Sometimes when one has a calling on their life, there's so many things that they are compelled to accomplish because they're on the path to the greater unfoldment, the greater good of their life. Does that make sense? So I'm out of breath just thinking about all that Pauli Murray was up to. Now, when I share about her, I'm going to read some highlights from her bio, which could be a book, and frankly is. I'm waiting for the movie, though. Somebody, as we talk about documentaries, an amazing sister that we have to know more about. Okay, so look. As a women's rights advocate, she contributed immensely to the dismantling of segregation and discrimination, putting herself on the line. She pioneered a vision for a society that valued diversity and rallied around our human virtues on every level. She was drawn to the ministry, and in 1977, she was the first African-American woman to be ordained as an Episcopal priest, in the first year that any women were ordained by that church. So although she was born, I told you that she chose to be called Pauli because it was a gender non-specific name. And so she, rather than be Pauline, she said Pauli. And she was known to dress always in pants and sometimes in men's clothing. There's a story that she tells that as a very young woman, she and a friend dressed as Boy Scouts. So anyhow, that's just a little side thing. So she really smart. At the age of 16, her aunt, she lived with her aunt, was raised by her aunt, moved to New York City so she could attend Hunter College. And she graduated there in 1933. I need you to keep these years because sometimes when we talk about people, it sounds like yesterday. But yesterday, they would have had a greater access. So in 1933, think about it. There's not that level of access, and yet she's cutting it up. Yes? So when she graduated with a BA in English, and she wanted to attend the University of North Carolina, which was where she was originally from. And they would not admit her because of her color, period, end of story. And so that garnered a lot of national attention because she actually wrote the president. She wrote the president, and his wife responded. And so while she didn't get in, that started a relationship. I need you to hear me because you don't know what step it is that you need to take. See, I'm just not telling you her story so that you can hear me read. I'm prayerful that you will hear a something that will remind you that something that you had let go of, that there's another step for you to take. Because she wasn't the only person who was turned down from a number of colleges because of her color, let alone her gender. But what did she do? Now, it didn't change that outcome, but it changed her life. See, I need you to ask somebody. Look, although she was turned down, she could have just cried in her milk, told everybody about it, wrote about it. She was a brilliant writer. So she could have written major pieces about that and how that impacted her life. But she wrote something else. How many of y'all think I'll just write the president about this? She wrote the president. Eleanor Roosevelt responded. And that began a long-term relationship. You never know what that step is, that if you take it, it begins to move you in the direction of your highest good and your greater good. Yes? So this is what I'm hoping that you're listening for. So she, in 1940, she sat in the white-only section of a Virginia bus. What I read, she said, happened is they were in the colored section. But the seats were all torn up. She said broken. So she was like, we ain't sitting there. So they moved forward and refused to move. Now, this is 1940. Now, you know, we celebrate Rosa Parks, but we all know, if you're familiar with history, that she was not the first one. She was the first one where they brought the case. But she was not the first one to refuse to be abused in this way. Yes? Okay. In 1965, she became the first African American to receive a doctorate in jurisprudence from Yale Law School. She wrote Jane Crow and the Law, Sex Discrimination in Title VII, and The Roots of Racial Crisis, Prologue to Policy, both of which proved profoundly influential in challenging legal foundations of racial discrimination. Specifically, Thurgood Marshall used her thesis. See, you don't know. All you need to do is do your part. You do your part, and then the rest is unfolding because there really is a power for good in the universe. And most often, we don't even know when we're using it. Yes? All right, so I'm giving you some highlights. She graduated first in her class, but she was at Howard University. And their tradition was whoever was first in the class then got a free ride to Harvard. But Harvard refused her postgraduate work because of her gender. She earned her master's degree at law. Now, this is a bit of trivia that I'm treating it as trivia here. She earned her master's degree in law at the University of California, Berkeley. And then she accepted the job of Deputy Attorney General for the state of California. I did not know that until I read this. She was the first African American to hold such a title in the state of California. I didn't even know she had spent time here. She officially worked, while she was doing that in California, she officially worked on housing and employment discrimination. But her unofficial role, she says, was helping her white colleagues understand the particular challenges facing the black community. As a lawyer, she argued for civil rights and women's rights. The NAACP chief, that's what I told you, Thurgood Marshall, called her 1950 book, State Laws, Race and Color, the Bible of the civil rights movement. She was appointed by Kennedy to serve on the Presidential Commission for the Status of Women in the early 60s. Then she was the first African American to receive a Doctor of Judicial Science degree from Yale Law School. And in 1966, she co-founded the National Organization for Women. And then, when she joined this law firm, a law firm in New York City, she was the only African American at the firm and one of just 4 women. And it's there that she crossed paths with an aspiring attorney working as a summer associate, RBG. You don't know. Right now, you don't know. And I'm going to talk to the vocal young folks. The vocal young folks. I'm going to leave it there. Because you don't know what that next step. You don't know where if you are in this positive experience here and you take the next positive step, you do not know where that's going to take you. We had for Black History, part of our display was those of us as ministers, what we wanted to be when you grew up, when you were a kid. And ministry didn't come up for nobody. Now, I'm not telling you to aspire to that, but you do not know how your life is going to unfold. So there's some things that you want to have in it. Now I've stopped talking to them and I'm talking to us. There's some things you want to do. There's some responses. There's intuitive guidance, spiritual guidance that you want to, divine guidance that you want to be attentive and responsive to. Because none of us knows what's right around the corner and how our life is intended. So it says that Ginsburg was so inspired by Pauli Murray that she listed her name on the legal brief for the groundbreaking 1971 Supreme Court case, Reed versus Reed, which established that the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution prohibited differential treatment based on sex. You never know. Noting Murray's profound effect on her legal career, the late justice also called Murray her legal hero, crediting her for, quote, willingness to speak out when society was not prepared to listen. Murray was the one who sparked the idea that the 14th Amendment should protect the rights of men and women to follow their talent as far as it could take them. And she named her as a co-author on that as well. She received an honorary degree from Yale Divinity School in 1979. And by her own acknowledgement, Pauli struggled with issues related to her sexual and gender identity. In her younger years, she had occasionally passed as a teenage boy. And some scholars have retroactively classified her as transgender. Bottom line, she was a trailblazer throughout her life. Her career reveals bravery, persistence, and diligence in her pursuit of an equal society. Her story and achievements continue to inspire the work of scholars and activists today. Another thing I did not know is that, did you already, that slide? I did not know that there is a quarter that was put in distribution, I think last year, that has her image on it. I didn't know that. She wrote, and I say this in closing because, I just want to link it up. I think this is perfect because Vocal Rush is going to come in just a moment. But I'm going to say I've been talking about it. And there's something about lifting our voices and saying what's so. She said, I have been cast aside, but I sparkle in the darkness. You know what? I almost hear in my mind's ear someone putting this to music. Her words. Somebody. I have been cast aside, but I sparkle in the darkness. I have been slain, but I live in the rivers of history. I seek no conquest, no wealth, no power, no revenge. I seek only discovery of the illimitable heights and depths of my own being. Oh, I have been honored to share with you about Pauli Murray. And now I'm equally as honored to bring you again Vocal Rush.
One, two, three, four. Some people talk about you like they know all about you. When you get down, they got you. And when you tip it on the scene, yeah, they talking about you. Cause they can't tip on the scene when you're talking about it. Talking about it. When you get elevated, they love it or they hate it. You dance up on them haters. Keep getting funky on the scene while they jumping on you. They tryna take all of your dreams, but you can't allow it. Cause baby, whether you're high or low, baby, whether you're high or low, you gotta tip on the tightrope. Yeah, tip on the tightrope. I tip on alligators and little rattlesnakers, but I'm another flavor, something like a Terminator. Ain't no equivocating. I fight for what I believe while you're talking about it. Shit, talking about it. Some calling me a sinner, some calling me a winner. I'm calling you to dinner, and you know exactly what I mean. Yeah, I'm talking about you. You can rock or you can leave. Watch me tip without you. Now, whether I'm high or low, baby, whether I'm high or low, I'll tip on the tightrope. Baby, whether I'm high or low, I gotta tip on the tightrope. Ooh, tip on the tightrope. You can't get too high. You can't get too high. I said you can't get too low. You can't get too low. Yeah, cause you get too high. You can't get too high. Now you're surely below. No, you're surely